Throw it up, motherfuckers. Blood, throw it up. Oh, 20 game, a dunk bang, rolling 20s, neighborhood bloods. Y'all already know what it is. You know what I mean? I'm here with OJ Nettie and Mars Burn and shit. We sitting there, you know what I mean, on a Monday night, you know what I mean, Memorial Day. My birthday tomorrow and shit, you know what I mean? We sitting here shooting and shit, you know what I mean, having a couple of drinks and shit, talking and shit. You feel what I'm talking about? Remember, hit the subscribe button, share the video, like the video, comment on the video. We do talk back, you know what I mean? Nettie, what's going on, my guy? What it is?
Man, what it is, man. Going right into a question that has been asked to me lately, and one of the reasons why we're doing this particular episode and keep it within our campaign of saving the youth. Recently been asking me a lot, well, how do you get out of a gang? Right? If you're in a gang, because sometimes it's mothers asking me and stuff like that, and sisters and just people in general. But my response was kind of like it always be, like it was in prison. I said anything short of you becoming, sick, you becoming mentally ill, things of that. The only the way that I can tell you is to die. Because this is something that you took an oath, into life. Now, in my case, I had got old, and then I had also had started having a number of health issues. Right, some of them I've even spoke about, by on the podcast or other episodes. But I never understood that, and I never understood that how somebody could, let's say they was in another gang. Cause I done seen all kind of tomfoolery, to put it to put it nicely. They go on like people, they jump from this gang to this gang to this hood to that hood, and I never understood that, right? Because I always looked at it like this: if you took an oath to something, which most gangs do, it's to me it's like getting baptized, in a church or something. You can't just up in one day and say, hey, well, I want out of this particular religion. It's something I would suspect had to happen in order for you to, make that decision. Well, the same thing goes with, the Bloods, specifically neighborhood roller 20s. You can't, one of my sayings used to be was, we're not a light switch or a woman to be turning off and on. It's just that simple, right? And when other members of other gangs and other hoods would try to join us and stuff like that, of course we would debrief them, right? But we didn't believe in, okay, you're one of us now. Early on, some, slipped through the cracks, whatever, but we knew the actual circumstances of that situation, and those very, very, very rare cases, and I'm talking about I'm talking about maybe one, right? We knew that it was bad leadership. It wasn't, this person is a coward. This person, he's a crash out, as young kids would say. So we knew the circumstances, and I'm not even going to say that, I'm even in agreement with it now. But what's done is done, right? However, I don't, there wasn't nobody who, it was just, and this was a hood thing. This wasn't even another gang thing, right? But move right along.
I mean, let me jump in to add on to what you're saying. I mean, one of the ways how to get out of a gang is don't join a gang. To my youth,
I
You know what I'm
was
talking about? Because you know, what I mean, there's a lot of bullshit that goes along with gang banging and shit that it won't be beneficial. You know what I mean? Just speaking on my experience and stuff. You know what I mean? Not beneficial for me to promote any young kids to go out and gang bang. You know what I mean? You get nothing out of it. You know what I'm talking about? And then you'll find it out if you gang bang or something happen. You go to prison and stuff like that. You know what I mean? These cats don't put nothing up for you. They don't come and see you. They don't give your mother, your family, nothing for you and stuff. But that's just my perspective on it. You know what I mean? Go ahead, OJ.
but you're actually right. But see, because sadly to say that, you know, nowadays when you know, something, you take a fall or you ain't even gotta be locked up. You know, your family is in need. You know, when people like myself and the Silver Wolf and stuff like that, when we was active gangbangers, it was a no-brainer for us. Your brother just fell. Your brother is having problems. Your brother is in need of some way to lay his head because, you know, something that took place. It was a no-brainer. Like even before I came home, you know, it was Dovettes was like, well, yeah, well, you know, you come home, you can come here. Luckily, my circumstances was pretty good, so I already had all that covered. But now it's kind of different, and that's why I said when we dealing with the youth, you know, a lot of them are not, you know, they don't have that mindset, to put it, you know, lightly. They don't have that mindset. So they're sitting around and then when their brothers go to prison and they forget all about them next week. That's not what this was designed for. You know, and I speak on this as an OG, you know, in the game and in life because, you know, I was just schooled on something, you know, recently when it come down to OGs, right? Because I knew what an OG meant to be in prison, you know, but when it came down the streets, and they say, man, they say, well, when you're, I think they were saying between 10 and 12, you're a little nigga. They said then when you are, you know, between that 14, 17, you know, age like that, well, really between seven, they said between 17 and 25 to be correct. They say you're a YN. When you start hitting that 35 and 45, they say you're an unc, right? And then when you start hitting that 45 and on up, you know you're OG. So this is me speaking from OG as both in, you know, a retired gang member as well as an OG in life. Man, a lot of stuff doesn't change. And I'm speaking to the youth. A lot of stuff doesn't really change, man. And I would say this: don't throw your life away. And I'm not. Remember, I always tell y'all, man, I never be preaching at y'all and stuff like that. I'm just saying, have a conscious decision. You know, really make a decision of whether or not this is something that you want to do. Because, like, you have other guys, especially behind the G wall, that's like me. You know, in the second that you start talking, hey, I want out, like you know, on what they call South Central. You know, when you tell them dope boy you want to get out of the car, say you start telling me that you want out, or the word gets back to me that you want out. I know that in my mind, snitching can't be far behind, right? So it's best to go ahead and get you out of there as soon as you start mentioning stuff like that. Because now, you know, I know that me and other people in there, that we got to revamp now because you know too much, right? You know too much, so we got to revamp now. And it's a whole process. So to avoid doing that, I always tell people, hey, think before you get into that. You know, think long, hard. I don't give a fuck if you like the color. You know, I don't give a fuck if your homeboy in it. So hey, because your homeboy in it, and so you gonna be in it. Nah, because a lot of times your homeboy is trapped.
Right?
Now,
Go ahead. But I know we got an active game member sitting here with us, Mossberg. You want to chime in and say that thing about active game banging? Because we speaking from retired game banging and stuff. You know what I mean? You active and stuff. Anything you want to, I mean, add in on what's going on with game banging at today's time?
Gang banging is shit. Gang banging is real. you want to be in a gang with people really do the same shit you do. But you ain't gonna find a lot of people out there like that do the same shit you do a lot. But when you and you don't want to speak on too much of that, but when you do things outside with your homeboys that's in a gang, and they real niggas, so they will really go out there and be with you, and they really ride with you and everything. Most of the time, you be out there, you know this nigga got your back and everything. Everybody know y'all two ain't a joke out there when y'all already do this.
So that's you. If you feel like that's your family, what you saying? That so when you out there and stuff, you feel like that's your family. That's your family that you haven't had that got your back when something going on through thick and thin. You feel like you got that with a gang banger that you banging with right now. That's what you saying?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, y'all. You mean?
I want to.
I mean, let it go ahead.
Like, don't get me wrong, right? When it's real, and like I said, when I used to be in it, like, man, like something, when it happened to one of my brothers, and that's one of the things, is a brotherhood and a sisterhood, as he was speaking, his family, you know, it used to hurt me. You know, it used to really affect. I remember we had a homie one time that passed away. And at the time we were living in Philly, you know, he passed. And I remember the Silver Wolf telling me this over the phone that, man, the brother, you know, they say he don't have long left. And man, I respected this so much because brothers actually got together, right? And sisters for that matter. They got together and they went up there and gave him his flowers while he was still alive to enjoy him. Right, to the, you know, to feel the love and stuff like that. That's what, you know, I had signed on for. You know, now it's not that I see gang banging different. I see the value different. You know, people can understand that. I see the value different. The value was, you know, when you was gang banging, you know, when I, you know, first started, it's because it was to fill a void of everything else that you've been missing in your life, right? If you didn't have a sister, you definitely gonna have a big sister in there. If you didn't have a brother, you definitely gonna have a big brother in there. If you didn't have a father, you was gonna find a father figure in there. And you was really gonna have somebody worrying about, did you go to school? Did you do your homework? Did you eat? Especially if they knew that, you know, your parents was on drugs, your parents was locked up, stuff like that. And a lot of that it seemed like it has faded away. And, you know, although mine was based on health reasons and my age and stuff like that, how I retired, and I had to go through, believe me, a whole bunch of stuff to actually in order to do this, right? And I'm still has to be a consultant to certain degrees. However, you know, it has to be something, you know, like I always tell the kids, it has to be something that you can get out of it, right? And at this point, we're living in an era that we need help, especially financially. We need guidance and awareness of who we are, right? Even when you're speaking in terms of bloods, who we are, why was it designed, why was it first started? You know, we need these things. But we'll get back into this. Until next time, peace.
Hey, thanks for watching, y'all. Silver Wolf TV. Remember, hit that subscribe button, like the channel, share the videos, comment. I do talk back. God bless.